Okay, can you hear me? Wait. Something is not right. Hello? I don't know where you are in space because I can hear something somewhere. Okay, hold it. I'm gonna have to enable computer audio connected, share screen, invite others, recording, turn off original sound. Oh, what are you doing? Nice, I can see. Where are you, Katie? Hey, Katie, say something. Nope, can't hear him. Hmm. Hmm.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, I was on mute. Okay.
there we go. No
Okay.
wonder. Why you are just testing my potential now?
Can you call Ashish and ask him to join the call, please?
Yeah, I told him 15 minutes before 6:30, so let me call him. Ashish bhai, kidhar hai bhai? Okay, there you go, calling. Hey Ashish, do you want to join the call? Are you available now? Yeah, we are both in 3 minutes. Okay, thank you. Bye. So he'll join in 3 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. So I updated the PPT and created only one PD presentation rather than having two slides.
Did you get
Um,
his stuff?
saw he had like four sheets to it.
Good.
So
Yeah, because I told him that it combined, but he said he'll discuss with you or do something different. So
yeah, that's totally fine. So yeah, so I think um,
so can we just quickly go down the from top to bottom who's saying what? Okay, nice. Asha for Education 2020
so
ranking.
that's that. I'll talk about like what Team Asha is, what we do, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then like talk about this mission, and then basically a little bit about like introducing Team Asha, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we do in general, and why we request or encourage people to join us. Um, because we participate in doing certain things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what do and basically like I think I'll take out this our involvement part because everything is like talked already before this.
Okay.
So we take out the our involvement part because it's like repeating few things. Um, so yeah, um, and then I will oh, it's not even taken out. Okay, it should. Yeah, there you go. That's got out. Yeah. So yeah. So and then I'll show like what we are introducing to them.
So this
Uh,
you?
this is me. Yeah.
So this is
And
what
then
did Ashish also do this or is it just
no,
you?
you did not, but I did.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll talk about
Nice.
um, Gravis, which Ashish will be talking about. You know, those are his slides. And
Nice.
then I'll go over and then talk about the itineraries. I kind of like reduce the text a little bit and
Mm-hmm.
talking about like what it means and talk about like what we will be doing and all that stuff, right? Um, and then of course going through like some of the photos um, of what the experience looks like, right? And then this is where I will ask you to like talk more.
Okay.
Okay, I think number of days we missed over there, which should be
It's
those are including
15 15,
travel, right?
16, 17. Yeah, I would say, yeah, I can say that. Including travel is 4 days, 3 nights.
Yeah.
So there was one question that came up in my own head is if you go back to that slide with the picture, one more back, it shows the campgrounds and the elevation drop and all of that. Yeah, this one. So if we it's a question based on where we land, right? So somebody may say, hey, if we land in Phoenix, we can get to North Kaibab Trailhead. If we land in Vegas, we should come to South because between South and North, it's a 4 hour
No,
additional
I mean like
travel.
there's no options like that. So
Good. I wanna be clear that we are
yeah, I'll lay out the itineraries very
okay.
clearly,
Okay.
what we are planning to do. So
Okay.
for your job, I think it's more likely to like logistics,
Mhm.
containing to like what the registration is like, you
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
like basically talking about like fundraising requirements and things like that.
Okay.
Basically, I would say like, yeah, just talk about this slide, and when you finish
One
this slide,
second.
right?
Ashish is calling. Hold on.
Yeah,
Hey, Ashish. No, you have to register first, and then. Oh, wait. I have to admit you. Sorry. Hold it. Now you should join. You're in?
yeah,
Okay.
keep admitting people, dude.
Okay. Yeah, I have to look for the damn thing. Okay. Is
Okay,
Ashish in?
it should be.
Mm, I should be able to see how many people are there. There managed 3 participants. Ashish is on.
Hey, can you guys hear me now?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Okay, so let me go over one more time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this one, Bloom, I changed the presentations basically. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
So
and
Ashish, your
then,
part is in here already.
Okay.
so yeah, so we'll start with this. Why is it taking so long? Okay, all right,
Yeah.
there you go. Okay, can you guys see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where we start. I'll introduce Team Asha programs, what we do, what our general goal is, what are we fighting for as a mission statement, and talk more about like how the structure is, right? Transparency, accountability, volunteer, and all that stuff. Uh, why people join us typically.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll show them like this year we are introducing this. Um, and I have a small 3 minute video of my trip,
Okay.
so I'll share that, and then I'll ask Ashish to like come over and talk about Asha's like project, how it impacts and things like that before I move
Mm-hmm.
on with Grand Canyon. And you will start and talk about, basically you have like 4 slides, right?
So
Right.
there's
Yeah.
somebody waiting to be admitted.
Yeah, you
So
can
let's
ask them
finish
to add. Yeah,
and then mute them for a little bit or what?
yeah, I mean you can add them, that's fine, no worries.
Okay. All right. Hello. Let's see. Somebody just joined us. Kavita Bhatt.
Okay.
I think she's muted.
Okay. Hey, Kavita, we are just going through the slides. Just
Okay.
we'll just like start in like 8 minutes.
Oh, sure, no problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I registered late, so you know.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
Okay.
So, Ashish, like after you talk, like I think I will proceed and talk more about Grand Canyon and what logistics and trip itineraries we are providing, right? And go through the experience through some photos, and I'll invite Ashwin actually to talk about the finances and registration, and he will end with this slide, and I'll carry over with like fitness requirements,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And then basically proceed after. Basically, like Ashwin, if you can like ask me to like just talk about fitness requirements, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can proceed with other slides as well. I'm totally
Okay.
fine. Okay.
Okay.
Um, and then
Go
yeah,
back to the
then
dates.
whenever you feel like, you can ask me to start talking. I'm totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So
All right,
I'm gonna make
gentlemen.
few changes to this actually. So I will take this off, and then whenever we are ready, like at 6:30, I will start over there.
Okay. Hmm.
Ashwin, keep an eye on people to admit, okay?
Yeah. So far, only one. Yes,
Yeah,
I'm watching.
I think like 6:30 to like 6:45 or even
Yeah.
7. I don't know. People might still.
You want to take 5 minutes to get some introductions going with everybody? Who's on? Who's on?
It will be tough over to do that.
Oh,
I
because
think
there's too many. Just three of
yeah,
us, maybe?
definitely. Like for us, we will introduce ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Rim to rim.
How's the phone experience to join this meeting?
What?
How's the experience from if you join this meeting from phone? How is that experience?
It's pretty good so far.
Oh, you're joined with phone? Okay, that's cool.
No, actually, when you say phone, you're talking like a separate line versus the
Like
audio.
I mean, it asked me to download an app called Zoom on my
Uh,
laptop,
hmm.
and then I joined from it. It's like
Yeah.
the
Yeah, you don't need to download anything on your laptop. Like basically, it does ask you, but you should be able to join.
okay browser itself.
Yeah, I did not download anything.
Okay, something is not right then.
So, can I ask a question?
Yeah,
While
go ahead.
so, where are you guys located? Seattle?
Seattle area.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Where are you located from?
I am from Bay Area.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have chapters in Bay Area too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
We
for
are from the East Bay chapter.
oh, you are from East Bay. Okay. There's a Silicon Valley chapter, which is I think like a little bit. It's not too far.
Yeah.
I think it's like Fremont. They are based from Fremont or something. Not Fremont. San Jose. Sorry, yeah, San Jose. So they do like some hikes over there in that region.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We are aware of that. So, I've been part of the running program for past couple years. So,
Mm,
we want to
okay.
try something different this year.
Yeah.
So far we have, I think, three more people just joined.
Okay.
So we'll
You
wait
can
a
just
couple of minutes.
let them know like I think like they can hear me.
Yeah, so
We're
folks
gonna
who just
wait like
joined, just hang on a couple of more minutes. We will start sharing and presenting. We'll wait for more to join by 6:30. Can you folks hear me? hear us? Rahul, Pramod, Mukesh, you're muted.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Nice. Who was that?
That's Pramoda.
Pramoda. Okay, sorry about that. I missed the A in your name.
Oh, okay, no worries. Who's this?
This is Asvin Mandadi. I am one of the Asha volunteers, and we'll introduce ourselves here. Brief moment.
Sounds good.
I think we should give another like 5 minutes for people to join.
Yeah, I'm guessing there might be a few who will have some registration difficulty.
Yeah. Yep.
So there are 6 people waiting. Wait a minute. Where are they waiting? Oh, there you go. Admit 1, admit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If somebody has a phone line open, would you mind muting yourself, please? Ramesh, Manu, Mukesh. All right. So folks who just joined, we're just going to give it a couple more minutes, maybe 6:35 we'll start. Because there's people joining in, I can see.
The doors are closing. Please stand clear of the doors.
The hosts are on, just hang tight. We'll give it 2 more minutes and we'll get started. If you're unable to hear, please ping us on the group chat.
I think Darshan might have his line not muted.
I can mute.
Yeah, go ahead and mute the line.
I did. What is BRB? 5 minutes.
Hey, Yashwin, I'll be
Be
back in
right
five
back.
minutes.
Okay.
Be right back as BF.
Okay. Thought you were going to B&B, Airbnb.
Ashwin.
Just having a little fun, man.
All right, almost a minute to go.
1 more minute. Yeah. I don't see anyone else joined
Keep
yet.
an eye on it, and we should be
Yeah.
starting in a minute. Yep.
Yep. All right. 2 more joined. Folks who just joined, we have just another 45 seconds. We'll get started. All right.
Well, hello everyone. Um, First of all, let's try to go through the admin part of it. Whoever is joining the call, please mute yourself so that everybody has a clear voice. And if you want to speak out, I would say go to the group chat and type in your messages. We are tracking it as you are typing it, so we will be able to answer them through that. Um, and Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Basically, I will be starting as if like you guys are new to Asha and things like that. So I'll go over briefly about what Asha for Education is, who we are, and what the climbing program is all about with respect to Asha, right? So first of all, I'm KD. I volunteer for Asha, and I also volunteer for the Mountaineers based in Seattle area. So I've been doing this since 2016. Like initially started with like climbing Mount Rainier, and pretty much like now I kind of lead volunteer lead climbs on Mount Rainier. And this was when I think I did this trip, Grand Canyon rim to rim, back in 2016 and 17. Um, and it was an experience to actually like a memorable experience to live by. Um, and I wanted that to be given to some of the folks over here. So finally, like in 2020, we are able to like at least go ahead and start with the program for Grand Canyon. Um, the other things about me, I am recently certified for Wilderness First Responder. So I'll be leading this trip for Grand Canyon in May. And like I have some leading experience, as I said, like volunteer lead Mount Rainiers, local glaciated peaks, and some rock climbs. I've not led groups for backpacking, but I've led groups for like mountains. Um, like that's kind of like my resume. And I've been climbing since 2016, pretty much. And let me also introduce my partner over here, Ashwin. Ashwin, do you want to take a stab at yourself and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Asvin Mandadi, and I also volunteer for Asha here, part of the climbing program. Was introduced to Asha through the biking program, and I also volunteered and ran the half marathon. So pretty much settled on the climbing side of things, which interest me the most since 2016, which is when I, well, finished the STP challenge and then the half marathon. And then in 2018, the climbing program, I did Mount Baker, and this past year, 2019, I kind of slowed it down a little bit because of an injury, but we'll be back again in 2020, both for training others, not as much as Katie's resume, but on training hikes in the close by vicinity areas, and would like to summit Rainier as my goal this year, and many more climbs to come. So that's my short and sweet resume. Katie, back to you. Katie, I think you're muted, Katie.
Katie, you are mute.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I just saw it. Okay, cool. So let me also introduce Ashish. He's also climbed Mount Rainier with me back in 2016. We kind of met together through that, and he has been volunteering on and off. Ashish, do you wanna like introduce yourself? Tell us like what you do, what your certifications are, and things like that.
Well, thanks for the introduction. So on apart from that, I just like climbing in general. So if I did after climbing with Asha, I did some basic climbing course with mountaineers, and then did some intermediate courses. So I pretty much like all forms of going up to the mountain.
Yeah, and Ashish is also Wilderness First Aid certified. And Ashwin probably will be a first aid certified by the end of this week. So we will have 3 first aid certified. There's one other person like who is not joined today. His name is Sunil. He will also be on part of the trip, and he's also getting wilderness first aid certification this weekend. So yeah, so we will have lots of good background going into this trip for sure, as a volunteer led. So let's go ahead and start about what Asha is. So Asha for Education typically as these programs called as Team Asha programs, and like they're not like widespread all over the states, but they are like sparsely on the west coast and somewhere on the northeast and somewhere in Florida, Georgia. They have like these 3 or 4 programs depending upon which like 3 programs, 2 programs in general everywhere, like running and biking, where they train you given like whatever your background is. They will train you from the beginning, give you nutrition guidance and things like that. We kind of took that like few steps forward. Say like California people might know that you guys have a triathlon program, right? And Seattle started with like climbing program, adding to that. And last year we kind of expanded the climbing program to the California, and then 2021 there are hopes of adding Oregon to that as well. So it's kind of a growing program. And today we're gonna concentrate mostly on the climbing part of it. What we have been doing is we started like back in 2010 with like group of some volunteers, and they just started like climbing mountains because they were very passionate about it, and they realized that, hey, why don't we do it for a cause? And they started just climbing and raising money by themselves. And back in 2012 it was officially part of Asha, where all these people who were training and doing climbs kind of got certified, and they took new people trained them, and then took them up. So overall, in general, what Team Asha is, irrespective of your background, if you want to achieve like any of these activities like running, biking, climbing, or doing a triathlon, you will be kind of given a guidance throughout the program, not only through the training hikes, but also giving you off the training events, right? How do you prepare yourself throughout the week and things like that. So over here, in general, the climbing program, as I said, as do like started with like Mount Baker, Rainier. We recently added Mount Suction and Glacier. The info session for that is sometime next week. I believe it's Jan 15th. And those are like guided trips because there's a glaciated. So we, as a volunteer, we do not want to take responsibilities of people as a roped up travel. So we do trips for volunteer-led base where there are no crevasses or no glaciers. Those are Mount St. Helens and Adams, and some people club five of these peaks and like summit all of them in a year. Last year there were like a couple of them who did that. Those are like five volcanoes in the entire state. So that's a great achievement to do. Then last year we started about like tripping to Kilimanjaro. We had a recently the first successful trip in December. There's another trip going in February. So these people also started training back in September. And this year we are starting with this new program, Grand Canyon, which was in the books for like last year or so. And finally we are like putting it out. As I was talking about overall in general, there's like a one big goal, which is basically by doing all these activities, by giving you guidance and things like that, we want you to be uh, supportive as well to the towards the chapter or towards the program by actually raising money. And all these funds go towards education and improvement for the local places back in India. Um, And regarding more about Asha, like we do, we are not affiliated with any of the, uh, we are like completely non-political, non-religious. We have a flat org structure. We are pretty much known for that. Uh, and there's whatever you want to know about it. There are wiki pages on Asha where you can really find it, or if you want to ask us, we can direct you or find answers for that as well. So with that, I would say most of the people join Team Asha program as one of the ways of like not only raising money, but also being part of like getting fit, uh, accomplishing few things which they have been dreaming of for years and putting it on the side or things like that. And by doing this, as a particularly as a climbing program, we make them explore like all the nature around us, training to certain beautiful hikes and climbs, which are volunteer led. And obviously like since last year we also expanded that from Pacific Northwest to California, maybe Oregon the year after, but we also went to like the roof of Africa in December, and now going to Arizona Grand Canyon. So it's pretty awesome. So um, I want to show you a quick video. This is a video which is taken by I probably Galaxy S4 or S5 at the time when I was doing this trip. So I'll play this video just to give you guys an idea of like what my trip was like. It's a very short video. So roughly, like I think like we did it back in 2000. This was like video shot in back in 2016 where we did like rim to rim to rim, basically starting from south rim going to north rim and turning back and doing the north to south rim. And typically it's about like 47 miles depending on how you do it, 47 to like 52 or something. But there are some excursion which we tried to do. And the other thing which you probably saw in the video was like a full backpack. There were like few videos which some section of the video where you might have seen like people only carrying their like trail running backpack with like some bottles of water and some snacks. They are like basically trail runners or ultra runners who try to like do this marathon of running in like 4 or 5 hours from rim to rim. But we took it as like a classic backpacking trip where we carried our own tents, food, and everything. So you kind of like saw like where we reached the north rim and we set up our tents. It was
Also,
pretty
when
intense on the first day for sure.
648 to 648 printer, there's no only push.
Some people are unmuted.
That's fine. You can carry on.
Okay, cool. So basically, so basically, it was a classical backpacking trip where you carry your own thing. It's self-sufficient, self-guided trip. It was, but our trip will not be. It's like we will be carrying the tents and things like that, and you guys will be mostly be like with the day pack. Won't be carrying much of the stuff. Um, but before we move on and talk more about Grand Canyon rim to rim hike, I wanna invite Ashish to talk a little bit more about uh, what projects does Asha supports, and today's project highlight is about Gravis.
Hey, thanks, Kelly. So I'm going to talk about Gravis a little bit. Uh, I've been associated with Asha for about 4 years now, and Gravis is a project which is mostly supported by the climbing program that's run by Asha Seattle chapter. So what Gravis is an NGO that works in Thar Desert in Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, and places like that. To put things in perspective, how the landscape of Thar Desert is like it's also the northwest part of India, like Seattle, but the landscape is completely opposite. There are no mountains. The rain is about 200 millimeter per year, while it is about 942 to 990 mm in Seattle. So that's like a very meager amount of rainfall that that cannot guarantee you enough groundwater to survive the whole year for drinking and other reasons. So those are like some of the challenges in that area, and this lack of basic necessities impacts the villagers in a way that they have to arrange for water. Like those things becomes their priority, and the education and health, those things takes a back seat. So Gravis works in these areas, tries to solve these problems by providing some ingenious solutions, which are not very expensive. Of course, these are funded by you know organizations like Asha, and there are some other organizations who fund Gravis, and they work in different areas too. So this year, not this year now, it's the next year. So last year I got an opportunity to do a site visit and see how the life is being impacted on the ground. So I made a 2-day visit in Jodhpur when I went to India in November. So I got to see, like I can share some of the photos. I think it's in the slides, and see how the things were. And to be honest, it was like really overwhelming and really humbling to see the effort that you put in here. You just think of raising money, but you don't know where it's being used, how is it being used. So it was really fulfilling to see that impact being taken. So Katie, if you can go back to the slide, the original slide, the one back basically. Yeah, so I took that picture from a video, that small picture on the right side. So this is one of the schools that Gravis supports. This is also funded by Asha. So this is a classroom where students of class 3rd and 4th are combined. This is a primary school, and so just to show off, the teacher in the classroom asked the youngest student to just solve the math problem. So that's the 7583 multiplication by 7, and he actually did it. So it was good to see that the education is like not just okay, there are buildings and structures, but nothing is happening. There is no benefit from those schools. So it was good to see the students are enjoying it. And the good, okay, can you move to the next slide? I want to show the classroom. Yeah, so if you look at the classroom, you will see the majority of the students are girl childs. The problem in that area has been like, so household stuff is considered a responsibility of women or girls in general. So back in days when, or in the families where you don't have any water security, so it's a responsibility of girls at house or the women to go out and then collect water for the family and for animals and things like that. So I'm going to talk about the solution in the next slide, but the way Gravis solves this problem gives the students, girls, a chance to go to school because they don't have to work those hours and then fetch water for the family. So it was a great sight to see. The picture on the right side in this slide is a toilet basically that was made last year. So we released some special funds for this. So during our last site visit, one of our volunteers found out, okay, there is a school, but there is no toilet, and it's majorly a problem for the girl child to go, for the regular stuff. But so Asha released extra funds, and I confirmed that the toilet is now there, and it's in good condition, healthy condition. Can you go to the next slide, please? Right. So they also help farmers. So since the water is a problem there, the picture on the left side has two parts to it. So they built. So Khadian is basically a farming on sloped land. So consider 2 to 3 degrees of slope on the land, and on the downhill side, you make a mounted structure that prevents water from flowing further down to the next side. So the way it helps farmers is like you can plant 2 or 3 types of uh, things that you want to grow. So on the uphill side, you can grow things that don't need much water, and on the downhill side, you can plant things that need more water. and once the water overflows, it goes to the next farm, and then the water is preserved and utilized in optimal way that way. So the second picture in or the point 0.5 picture in the first photo under Khadin farming, that's a small watermelon in a deserted farm, and it tasted like watermelon in real. So it was good to see that. Uh, the second picture in this slide is one of the major achievement of Gravis. So this is basically water reservoir. It's called Tanka in the local term. So this helps collect rainwater whenever it happens, like twice or thrice in the season, and it can fill up about 20,000 liters, which is good for the family for about 6 years, a family of 4. So this is the main reason the girl child can go to school. I mean, they can have water at their disposal, whenever they want. It's so this structure is built for every family outside their house. And last year, Gravis built about 38 such structures funded by Asha. So so you might say, okay, it's good for six months, but what happens for the next 6 months? So they can, for the next 6 months, they have to pay for water, but they can use this reservoir to store it, and then they'll be good for next 6 months as well. Okay. Can you go back to the next slide?
Yep.
Not back. Okay. Yeah. So they also have some horticulture units. So this is basically to support the nutritional value that the farmers or these families get because of lack of the nutrient values in the food. So they help grow things like pomegranate, lemons in the back of the house. They also call it kitchen garden. So it is with some of the families I met, they said it's enough for the family to eat it when it grows for 3 or 4 months. So that way they also support the you know uh, you can say food security in a for some part of the year. And Gravis also have some hospitals that they do regular health checkups for villages. They organize health camps, and they also have some self-help groups where they you know teach women to do things like embroidery, how to run a sewing machine, and then maybe make some t-shirts and salwar kurtas for women to sell out, so they can be independent in terms of money, and then have more confidence. Uh, so they do some more things which I didn't add here in the interest of time. But so as a volunteer, it was really fulfilling to see where the money was going, and uh, and the way it was impacting the locals there. So it was really humbling to see their response as well. Yeah. So with that, I think I would not take more time and keep you from the Grand Canyon hike. I would give it back to Eddie.
Cool. Thank you. Uh, yeah, it's great to like go back to the slide where we talk about our mission statement to catalyze the socioeconomic change in India through education and of underprivileged children, and also like the socioeconomic justice for women, uh, giving them the right to like educate and things like that, especially in the places where they couldn't go to study just because they had to like stay home to like get water from a different place, right? Um, so these are like really great improvements for us like going forward back in India. Um, Now, going back to Grand Canyon, um, and this is one of the ways that we created this Grand Canyon trip, just because like we wanted to get more funds for such projects. So let's talk about it. Oops, let me see what's going on. I went out of the full screen for some reason. Okay. Okay, back on. Okay. So Grand Canyon, as I showed you guys my video when I went there, uh, it could be my video probably showed like 54 miles back to back. But depending upon how we do it, and I will talk a little bit more about the logistics around it, it could be 47 miles. And given like how you want to do it, whether it's rim to rim to rim or just rim to rim, things are different, right? But the huge accomplishment is achieved when you do these like in a single day or 2 day pushes, which is I think like which I am striving for. The other thing is we did apply for permits and things like that, camping reservations, and we have acquired spots for the weekend of May 15th. I think the weekend of that, I think like it's like 16th, 17th weekend. So the travel dates are like May 15 and 18, so that we have some rest around that days. Um, so the other thing about this hike is uh, during the time of May, it's like a little bit better than doing it in summer, where the temperatures at the rim might be 70 degrees, but the temperature at the bottom of the canyon will be 120, 130 degrees, which is like pretty tough to walk in. Uh, and when I did this hike back, then the video which I showed you guys, that was done in September. I had temperatures about like 45, 50 degrees at the rim. And there was a section of Box Canyon, which I'll talk a little bit more in a minute, which add the temperature of like 100 degrees, and you have to like walk through that. So we are like, we manage those two things like by managing what time of the day that we should walk in that area so that there is not much temperature, right? And Grand Canyons are known for like temperature drops and rises pretty quickly depending upon where you are. So once the sun goes down, you're feeling pretty cold. When the sun is up, it's like really hot, really, really hot. Like the like the feeling like walking or hiking in 100 degrees is like basically opening a oven door when you're done baking and the fumes come out of it. That's the feeling that you have. So it's pretty strenuous. So you should not walk in that kind of weather. So we kind of like manage our walking times based on like uh, walk before 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. and start walking after like 3, 4 p.m. so that we avoid that bad patch in the day. So given that you will have to like walk for like either 23 miles, so there are like multiple itineraries that I'll be talking about, and these requires different levels of fitnesses, and we are open to have two different types of trips for this weekend. But it's up to you. Both the trips have limitations to that, like number of spots and your fitness that goes into it. The dates will be the same. So people who are doing this as rim to rim in 2 days, or there will be a group of people who will be doing rim to rim to rim in 2 days, basically. Um, so yeah, so talking more a little bit more about logistics. So typically, like wherever you land, I really don't care. But we will be meeting on May 15 at a particular spot, which is basically, let me go back to this PDF. Um, okay, so we will be driving. Um, you guys can see the PDF, right? Okay. Ashish,
Yeah, I can
Ashwin?
see it. I can see it.
Okay, great. So we will be pretty much like driving, like entering the Grand Canyon from south entrance and going towards the Matha campground, which is right over here, to stay the night of May 15th. And May 16th is when we will be actually doing our trip. So
Let me see if I don't know who that is.
okay. Um, uh, okay, as long as those are not questions.
No.
So and then what will happen is there are two groups. One group will drive or travel through shuttle services to the North Rim, which is way at the top, somewhere out of this page. Still very far away. and then you basically start from here, start from North Kaibab, and then come down all the way. And I'll talk more about right now in the other feature over here. So what will happen on like Saturday, the first day when people are doing like this as rim to rim, just the rim to rim, like 23.5 miles or something like that, right? So they will the reason to go to north side is because you can see the north side is higher than the south side. So you when you're climbing, you want to climb less elevation and like climb down with like loss of elevation, right? So it will be better for us. And then we'll drive over there or we'll take a shuttle. I think like we are reserving the shuttles for that. Ashwin will correct me if I'm wrong. But one and we probably will start like after lunch, like 2:30 or 3 o'clock on Saturday to hike down, and you will have lots of enjoyment. Even though we start late, I think like the sunset is around like 5 p.m. around that time, and we should be able to like get to these campgrounds like Cottonwood campground. And after the Cottonwood campground, like this entire thing is like a drop of like 500 or 700 feet. We may not be able to visit Ribbon Falls because it will be dark and it is like 2 miles detour. But we will come back to the Bright Angel campground and stay the night over there. So the logistics that you guys will be carrying is just your snacks, water, and that's about it. The lead will be carrying the tents and the overnight food, which will be freeze-dried food. And we will have ranches over here, which we will be using in the next day morning for our breakfast. After that, uh, next day morning, we will try to like enjoy ourselves over here for like some time. Basically, wait until like 2 p.m. or something, and then start coming up. And we will be coming up through Bright Angel Trailhead towards this portion because this is where the visitor center is. This is where all the logistics and facilities are available. On the South Kaibab, there are no facilities, and on this trail on the South Kaibab, there is no water source available. So we will not be doing that. We will be using the we will be using the Bright Angel Trail to come all the way up. There are pretty cool features on this one that you will encounter on the way. There are some like fauna and like pretty awesome terrain to walk on. And even though this could be treacherous to walk on the next day, there's lots of stopping points, lots of places that you will be able to like sit down and enjoy yourself. I'll share some of the photos of that later on. So this is like basically you come up over here by Sunday night, and we'll go to the campground. We will again like set it up, stay the night, and then fly out the next day afternoon back to our places, right? So this is like the general the first trip, which is R to R, right? The second trip, which we also are opening up, is rim to rim, basically. And this one we will start pretty early in the morning. So some one group goes taking the shuttle. The second group who is doing this is will be starting from South Kaibab to give you some different terrain. Basically, since you're going down, you're not too worried about water availability because you can carry 2 liters of water. You can easily drop down uh, to this campground by 10 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. and rest over here until like it's like 3:30 or 4 o'clock. Enjoy the sceneries, take photos, enjoy the ranches over there, right? Get some food that they can make, like real food, things like that. And then we will go up all the way, and we might meet our first group over here coming down, right? And then we will go all the way up. This will be a portion a little bit in dark, the yellow portion and the green portion, after sunset. And then we will be pitching up tents in the campground over here and staying the night. And the next day we have the entire day to explore the north Kaibab. This is the fun part about doing rim to rim to rim. Since you have to start so late on the second day, you are going to just like explore north side of the rim. Like it's so much to explore. The first group may not have some time if they want to do like additional like the travel dates are like Friday to Monday, right? So if you want to explore, I would say like give yourself some buffer time and travel accordingly. The main trip dates should be it starts from Friday evening where we meet and talk about our logistics and plans for the trip, and organize everything till Monday morning. So you should not have anything until that point, like Monday morning breakfast time. So that's the actual trip. Anything you want to explore is outside of that, right? Um, and sorry. Uh, and then the next day we will start hiking down around like 1:30 p.m. This coming down is pretty much in the shade while coming down, so I'm not really worried about like the temperatures and things like that. And the time we are going in May is a little bit colder, then we might see some snow because typically the north side opens up in, like mid of May, and we are just going the week after or something. So there might be some snow over there, so it will be cold, it will be fun. um, and then we come down basically all the way, and we might be kind of like somewhere over here when it's dark, uh, sunset, and then we'll come up on the bright angel because again it is the last section of the trip. We want all the resources, facilities, and everything available to us in case we are out of energy, right? So this is where the best part of the trip is, uh, when we are exhausted, but everything is available to us to like take rest breaks and things like that and get to the facilities over here. If you guys want to not stay in a tent, totally up to you guys. You can stay at a lodge on the South Rim on Friday night and Sunday night. It's totally up to you guys. That will be on to you. But we have the camp spots reserved for us if we have to like stay together and camp out. But if you want to like take a better rest and things like that, feel free to like book your lodges because they might be full pretty quickly. um, so that's the kind of like a rundown of like what the details of those 2 days of travel will be. You will be like witnessing obviously sunrises and golden like canyons and things like that. We'll be like looking at the down at the canyon, like I think like one of the videos like on the left photo, like I showed like how it looked from the, you look in the horizon and look down. It's kind of very deep canyon, but it's fun. And then you'll also come across man-made objects like where you never imagine like would exist in a canyon, you know, like down there where helicopters are even like charging you like 50,000 bucks to get there. You know, so it's pretty awesome. um, and another view of the canyon over here. There are some other photos which I would like to show you. Let's see if I can do that.
Hey, Katie, this is Vishal. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay, can you go back to the slide which you showed me for the north to south rim? Just want
The
to, yeah,
Yeah, this one.
that's this one. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for rim to rim, when we say that from South Kebab, we'll be starting somewhere in the morning.
Yeah.
Bright Angel Campground, we reach around 10:30, and
Hmm.
we start at around 3:30, 4 o'clock from there. So what is the expected time to reach North Kebab after that?
Uh, so basically, we will be reaching North Kaibab around like 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. Yeah, so something like let's say 11 p.m. to be safer. Yeah.
Okay, okay, and then next day we start around afternoon, like 1:30.
Yeah, like after lunchtime. And there's like a great lodge over there in the North Rim where you can eat a
Uh-huh.
lot of food. Yeah.
Yes. So on the return path, what time we plan to reach Bright Angel?
It will be around like 10 p.m. or so. Yeah. Same thing.
Okay, okay, got it.
Yeah. That's where our fitness lies. That's the planning to reach there by 10. Um, but depends on our fitness level. And we will go through that in a bit. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Ashwin, were there any questions so far?
No, I haven't seen anything.
Okay. Anybody has any questions? They want to talk?
Yeah, okay, give it a pause for a minute or two and see if there's
Yeah.
any questions.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
I need a favor. Actually, I'm listening to you. I don't see the slides. Will it be possible
Oh,
for you to submit slides?
yeah, absolutely. I'll share these. I'll share these slides. Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
Katie, can you also please share the like what you explained through text or email to join after
Yeah,
that?
yeah. That you will get it. Yep. Yep.
We are recording this whole thing, so we might as well post the recording that folks can watch.
Oh, that
Yep.
will be wonderful. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking like the time frames that you mentioned, like this is the time you're going to start from North Kebab, and this is the time you're going to reach Brighton,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I'll
So,
like.
do you think in one day we will cover, say, from north to south and the next day south to north, or the other way around?
So it depends
Does it
upon
take
what
one
your
day?
baseline is.
Uh-huh.
And I'll talk about the fitness in a minute after talking about like the registration fees and things like that. What are the fitness requirements? And basically like we have until like end of April to train, and which gives us like February, March, April, 3.5 months roughly. And it depends like what your baseline right now is, and I can talk a little bit more of like how the training progression should look like, and you guys could decide like whether you want to do it in 2 days or like 2 days as in like just north to south in 2 days, or south to north, north to south, like the entire thing in 2 days. It's up to you guys to decide.
So, how long did you take? In how many days did you complete?
I kind of like took a little bit over than 2 days, but it's mostly like I started the second day pretty much late, right? So it was like around 2 days. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, Katie,
Katie, I
what
have
is the
another
typical,
question.
Yeah.
hello? What is the weight of your day pack? Around 10 pounds, 20 pounds?
The day pack will be around like 15 pounds, because you will be
15
not only
pounds.
carrying your food and snacks, but you also will be carrying some layers just for, just layering up for night sleep, you know.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
like a
how big
sleeping
the
bag
groups
and
will
things like
be?
that. What?
How big the groups will be?
Uh, so we have a limitation of 11 total,
Okay.
and I think like we have 7 spots open, 7 to 8 spots open for you guys to register, and I'll go through the registration process at the end of this session, where I'll talk about like when the registrations will open up, and when are you guys, and like I don't have like a limit of like 4 people in back to back 2 days, or 4 people just one way 2 days. It's mixture, right?
Okay.
All I want is the total amount to stay within 11.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Katie, this is Dinkar. I have another question for you.
Yep.
What is the elevation change, like starting point, and how much do you drop? And can you?
So North Rim is about 6,000 feet up from the canyon,
Uh-huh.
and South Rim is about 5,000 feet up.
Okay, and the bottom is at like sea level, or
Bottom is at like 1,000 feet.
okay, so you
So, do
lose
you
4 and
think?
then you gain 3. Or,
What did you say? Sorry,
so you
somebody
lose
was talking.
5, and then you gain 4. Is that
No, basically, sorry, the elevation at the north rim is 7,000 plus,
mm-hmm.
and at the south rim, the elevation is 6,000 plus, and the elevation at the canyon is 1,000. So the gain and loss is 6,000 and 5,000 respectively.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that
So,
have?
do you think people suffer from AMT over there? What are the chances?
So there are chances, of course, of those things happening. But like as long as we manage our timelines throughout the day, and and we will be like taking a look at everything. Like you guys will have the first aid people like to look after you guys throughout the trip, to like see out what the body changes are going on, and we will talk about the insurance that you guys need to buy in order to like evacuate yourself and things like that. But like you will not get to that point. We'll have like a backup plans for that. Yeah. I'll talk at like in some time when I talk about
Okay.
fitness training. Yeah.
So, Katie, this
Yeah.
is Aswin. There's a question about day pack, are we going to cover that later? What's carried in a day pack? I know you answered a little bit, but
So let me
there,
cover that, right?
okay,
Um,
let's go ahead.
so basically the leads will be carrying the like the first aid, repair kit, and the tents. Okay, for the like 2 tents. Okay, so that the leads probably will be carrying like 35 pounds on this trip, and the participants will be carrying about um, their layers, which is about like 4 pounds, 4.5 pounds, water, and mostly the water is available. Um, Other than the South Kaibab Trail, everywhere else, like as long as you're carrying like 2.5 liters of water, you will have plenty of water along the way. And this obviously changes from season to season. Um, and we will keep a track of it. Like even if you say like 3 liters, it's about like 8 pounds. So you're like 12, 13 pounds over there, and then you will have your sleeping bag and sleeping mat, which will bring it to like 15, 16 pounds. So that is probably the end, like kind of, yeah. Of course, there will be some snacks, right? So that's another 2 pounds. Yeah. So let's say 18 pounds. That is what the limit should be. And we will be checking like to reduce the weight as much as possible throughout the training program, trying to see like what kind of gear do you guys buy and things like that. And also try to minimize the weight. So pretty much like you guys will be carrying half of the weight of the leader, and you guys should have more room for relaxing and more what do you call rest time.
So Katie, one other question. I don't think we said anything about it, but there is no alternate date, correct? We're just
There
sticking
is
to,
no alternate date. Yeah.
yes. Someone asked the question, May 16th, is there a different date? The answer is no, there isn't. The other question is, do we need spikes?
It
As
is
we done.
weather and condition dependent. We will be deciding that only the week before the trip. So nuts and bolts about those minor things will be dependent upon the trail conditions. We will try to like not take it if not required, because we want to save every ounce we as much as we can.
So the
I
gear
have a
details will be provided as we get closer.
Oh yes,
All right.
I just covered the basic brief part
Yep.
of it. Yep.
Yep.
So,
Hi, KD. I have a question. This is Prashant. I want to check the tents that the leaders will carry. Will they be group tents?
Yeah, they will
And
be group tents, and there will be 2 tents that they will be carrying. That would accommodate easily 8 people.
does it make sense if I want to carry, for example, a 2-person tent for somebody to share with? Can I do that, or is it not advised?
Uh, Depends upon your fitness level and all that stuff. We are open to reduce our weight, of course. And if you guys want to carry a little bit more and you guys are capable of doing that, then totally fine. We don't unnecessarily want to add more weight onto our backpacks as well, because we have to not only guide you on this trip, but also look forward and take 2 steps ahead of you guys, right? Not only physically, but also like mentally, what you guys will be going through to actually guide you and like tell you like, hey, this is what we need to do. Be prepared for it, things like that.
No, you were
So
mentioning there is lodge. Is it closer to the tent place or it is elsewhere?
which one?
The lodge?
Oh, the lodges are pretty close by. It's like a drive. Like there are shuttle services that might be open in the South Rim in the morning. If not, we will have cars anyways because we are driving from airport, right? It's like 5-10 minutes of drive. And for people going from Bright Angel Trail, right? If your people are going down from South Kaibab Trail, that's like about 30 minutes drive. That's on the other side. But yeah.
Okay.
That's why I think like Friday evening meeting, like we will decide a time, like which will be around like 7 p.m. that we will all meet. And we should be like going back to sleep at like 10 p.m., not later than that on that Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways,
KD, this is,
yeah,
I
go
have
ahead.
one.
Yep.
What are the overnight temperatures like that time of the year?
So mostly It will be around 40 degrees, 45, 40 to 45 degrees at the base. And at the top will be around like 55, 60. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
For people who are joining for rim to rim only, they're gonna hike from north to south, right?
North to south. Yeah.
All right, because elevation clearly is lesser in that case.
Yes, exactly. I think like that's, we covered that. Yep. Yeah, you're right. All right, let me proceed and talk a little bit more about. I wanted to show photos, right? Yeah. So let's see if I can do that. Uh,
Quick question, Rahul.
so, like if you guys wanna see, like the trail is like pretty wide, even though there are like drops and things like that. You guys see the trail, you can see like pretty wide trails. Like people run and do ultra runs, and it's pretty easy. Like I'm carrying about like 27 pounds in a backpack. It's like pretty streamlined, and like you will have like witness all these things, right? There's a bridge to cross the canyon, obviously, and you will have all the energy if you're trained properly to do all kind of extra things. So it's all depends upon the training requirements that you guys go through.
Yeah, I know, but it's not.
um,
Hello?
so yeah, good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please continue. I'll ask the questions after you're done talking.
It's on you.
Okay, so that was basically the little bit nutshell of like overview of like what the trip logistics will look like. Obviously, I'll go a little bit more in depth about training requirements and gear requirements will cover throughout the time. But the training requirement is what I wanna like give you guys something to think about tonight before I open up the registrations so that you guys can decide which one to choose for yourself, right? Um, but before I do that, let me invite Ashwin back again to talk about the finances.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. So I'll be brief. Simply put, we have two different routines here. One is the rim to rim to rim, and then the other is rim to rim. So there is a slight difference in the two in terms of the fundraising goals. The application fees are being collected at the time of your registration, which Katie mentioned. He'll open it up after this session, and the limitations are the number of spots that are open. So each person that is committing would be putting in a $150 deposit, and what that goes towards is we've already reserved campsites. There were a couple of questions about campsites earlier. I answered that. So there is cost to that. And then we also have two permits that we are applying for. One has already gone in for a campsite that we will need at the bottom of the canyon. For that, we have a backcountry permit. So anytime you camp below the rim, you need a backcountry permit, and that is on an individual basis. There's a fee somewhere between $100, $110 for the total group. And then we also have, as Asha, which is a not-for-profit organization, we're raising funds. We also have a special use permit that we have to apply for, plus that goes along with insurance and everything else that we have to submit with it. So there is additional costs for that. And if we are able to manage within those funds, we will also buy, for those that have registered and committed, the bus tickets for that one trip that needs to go from South Rim to North Rim. So that bus ride is, I think, approximately $90 per head. And there's always transportation available, so it's not like if you miss one, well, let's not get into that detail, but the bottom line is hopefully the 150 will cover all of the permitting and transportation expenses over at and the campsites.
I think it depends upon whether people do rim to rim to rim or rim to rim. Sorry, Ashwin, to drop you over there, because people who are doing just the second column or the third column in this thing like the last column, will basically need a transport and also need a backcountry permit cost,
Mm-hmm.
which is like kind of doubling up the cost, right? And if everybody chooses to do that, we will not be able to cover that within $150 every per person. They
Correct.
will have to choose their own shuttle or pay for their own shuttle from the south rim to north rim.
Right.
For people who are doing rim to rim to rim, they do not require backcountry permit. So it depends upon how many people choose what to do. Uh, but that's kind of like $90. So I would say like anticipate like $100 more to pay on top of $150 just in case.
Mm-hmm. And this doesn't include your airfare, of course. And then there's also going to be car rentals that we have to go for. So we'll do our best to inform everybody on the total cost, but this is the initial cost. There will be some more. The fundraising goals are pretty straightforward. We have established a $1,000 goal for the dual hike, and then a $600 goal for the one-way hike. And then in case you register and somewhere down the road you cancel, there is still a minimum expectation for fundraising, which is for the rim to rim to rim, it's 750, and for the other one, it's 500. The number of days obviously is the same for both, and it includes the travel days. So we're looking at 15th travel, and 16th and 17th would be the hike days. Depends on what you're doing, and then 18th is the day you return, unless you choose to do other things. That's basically the plan. So 4 days, 3 nights. The skill requirement is something that Katie will go through in detail, but high level is basically saying that if you're doing the two-way, it is extremely strenuous, and depending upon the weather conditions, it could be even worse. So be prepared for that mentally, and we're going to go through a plan that will get you there. Some of you might already be there, but generally speaking, for the good of the order, understand that it is an extremely um, strenuous and high endurance hike going both ways. And the other one is more, you're covering a very long distance, a 5 to 6,000 foot drop, a nice, reasonably decent hike for 7 or 8 miles at the bottom of the canyon, and then you're going to have to climb up 7,000 feet. So it's really the long distance endurance, high endurance hike for one way. Fitness level is, again, it depends on your fitness level. And if you are already experienced with a lot of training and you are able to endure, you can consider the two-way. And those that have a question in their mind, I would simply say, it's not. It's the goal is, obviously to come back safe. So it's not about trying to achieve something that you cannot. So be mindful of that, and demonstrate that you are fit, and do the one way. And so the challenges are there for both. So it's not an easy hike for anyone. The number of spots open for the two-way is 3, and for the other one is 4. We will
Which
have up
I
to
think,
3.
yeah, I think like which is flexible now, which I talked
Yeah.
like a little bit before, where
Hmm.
it's depending upon like I don't want to limit that number. Whoever people want to choose, whatever people want to choose, I think I'm totally fine. I think the total number, what I'm trying to put together, we have four kind of people, like leads in a way, and then like we are opening for 7 spots, right? So
Yep.
yeah. And to let you guys know, like for each lead, the ratio in Grand Canyon permit for any special use permit is having not more than 7 climbers or hikers with them for each lead who is wilderness first responder or first aid certified. So we are going through that rule, but also we also want to give more backup just in case we need more people to help out, right? So that way we try to like put together 2 people in each group at least. And depending if everybody chooses just rim to rim, uh, that's totally fine. But we want to have that flexibility so that we are playing safe.
So somebody had a question,
I
is
have
the
a few
lodge
questions on the.
expense
Sure.
covered?
So,
Is the
what
hang
did
on
you say,
one second.
Ashwin? Sorry.
Hang on. Somebody wants to ask a question. Hold on one second. There's a
Yeah,
question
since you
here.
mentioned about safety issue, just one quick question.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anybody has already asked it, but what's the chances of flash flooding during the May time zone, like time
Yeah,
period?
so it's there are pretty low chances, but it can happen because that's the first month after the snow melts off, right? So like anytime between April through September, end of September, there are flash flood chances, right? And that's where we will try to like say like we have the insurance so that we can recoup the money, right? So that's, yeah, we will yeah, we will do our
Right.
best
Okay.
to,
In case there's
like,
a
what you're talking about, like hiking down, or you're talking about
typically,
making.
I'm not too sure which part of the trail is will be affected, but is there any risk in traveling multi-day or like typically like would it be dangerous if you are actually
So
on at
for,
the Phantom Ranch or something?
yeah, so for both the trips, like the emergency shelters are totally fine by people to shelter wherever possible. So whenever there's a flash flood, like you try to like go to the higher ground basically, right?
Yes.
So the danger is the time when from 10 to 3 or 10 to 2 where we try to like rest, right? That
Right.
is the danger spot, right? That is a danger time. So we kind of like will be in touch with the rangers, look at the local weather patterns. They will be in touch with like how the river is flowing and things like that periodically. And flash floods could happen all of a sudden, right? That's why it's a flash flood. But we will be preparing ourselves to manage those kind of risks and try to move the entire group to the higher ground as
Okay.
early as possible. Yeah.
Cool.
um, we will be prepared to like make that choice to like move up to higher ground. Yes. And to answer, okay, so Ashwin, do you want me to take over?
Yeah, there's a few questions that I think you responded privately to me. So one first question is on the slide. Number of days is 4 days, 3 nights. Is this accurate? You mentioned the hike is from Friday to Sunday. So the answer on that is it's inclusive of the travel dates, so it is accurate. The next question is the lodge expense covered in this registration fee? The answer is only camping costs. We don't have any lodge expenses, but otherwise there is costs for permits that are in the canyon. And then
Is
the
there
next,
someone like on the call who can probably
mute.
mute this, because we are trying to like record this so that people can listen to it later on.
So there is a question here, Katie, I think you can answer this. Can the fundraising goal be combined with 5 volcano hikes for folks in Washington?
Yeah. So basically, typically we do not give any discounts for fundraising. Like people do like 5 volcanoes and things like that. But depending upon like a number of trips that you guys do, we will be able to reduce some load onto that, or give you more time to raise funds, right? Because typically at the beginning of the year, as we talk, generally go through the meetings where we try to like set up a goal. And this year's goal is to reach like $70,000 from the climbing department. Last year we reached about 55,000 plus, and that was only from the Washington climbs. So if we do some Kilimanjaro trips, which we did, which will bring about 7-8 thousand, and this trip will bring about like 6-8 thousand, we should be able to get together towards 70,000. Given like what we did last year for Washington climbs, that's our goal, and we want to reach that goal. Uh, so we will try. We typically do not change. The climbing department doesn't change the fundraising goals, but if you are doing multiple things, we may give you discounts of like either time to raise that money, or discounted by 15% or something like that. But it depends. So yeah. We can definitely talk a little bit later on that, depending upon whether you're selected for doing certain things, right? Um, so that's the
Yeah, you can go.
fundraising, which is a little bit more complicated. The answer is it depends, right? In to summarize that, so I want to summarize what Ashwin was talking about, and people have some questions over here. Ashwin, can you mute everybody, please?
Yeah, I might have to do that. Was refraining from that, but Katie, can you speak?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, there you go. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay.
Current
Cool.
new program. Yes. Oh, wait. Unmute you. All right, go ahead.
Okay, great. So basically, to summarize what Ashwin was talking about in this slide was $150 per person is only covering the permit cost and the camp spots, nothing beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and all the logistics like your travel, your car rental, your lodge stay, and everything else will be based upon you. To be safe, to assume like you may have to like book your own shuttles. So that is, I would say like assume that. The fundraising goal is pretty much straightforward. There are two levels. I think like, I don't remember whether Ashwin touched base with it. So
I did.
basically, you did okay, great. Then I'll move on
Mm-hmm.
um, to fitness basically. So for fitness requirements, like I'm gonna assume like what the audience is because I haven't asked you guys what you guys do. So I'm gonna assume like, hey, like you guys are just basic hikers. You just do it for leisure, uh, and do like 2 hours, 3 hours, or 4 hours maybe, and maybe once a month roughly on average. So if you're that kind of person, have little bit of like just going out, just carrying water or 2, 3 energy bars and fruits with you, I would say stick with rim to rim hike, right? And if you are more avid hiker and you hike a little bit longer than that and have a frequency of roughly two to three hikes a month or 2 to 3 hikes a month, then I would say let's go with the first option, rim to rim to rim. The reason for that is the baseline is a little bit different for both people, right? For both categories. Um, and what the first training goal will be to achieve for all of us to get to a place where we can carry about 20 pounds and do certain kind of elevation gain within a period of time, which is a very standard basic mountaineering goal that we all need to achieve, but we will be only carrying about 20 pounds. So this typically is achieved for the second category, which I talked about, the rim to rim folks, right? They will be actually getting that within like a month's time because they have the baseline to go and like shoot for that. But the other people will take about like 7 to 8 weeks to do that, um, like ideally. So and then after that, people will be training for longer distances and recovery times. So people who are not experienced, I would definitely go with like rim to rim. People who have a little bit of more experience of like hiking 6 to 8 miles a day with 2,000, 3,000 feet of elevation gain, and do this like twice a month at least, I would say you could do rim to rim to rim. Um, Having said this, right, you guys can join and not train, and then it's a downfall after that. So what we need is true commitment in training. Uh, these kind of trainings, what we do for mountaineering or any kind of such kind of terrain, involves every weekend, right? So you should be committed to go out one day of every weekend to train, right? No matter what it is, you have to dedicate yourself to do that. And also, you will be required to go to gym workouts or cardio workouts, right? Strength and cardio training, which will take out your at least hour and a half and 3 days a week, right? So you think about this, and this will only help you if you have a good nutrition, right? So if for some reason you also have a good project going on in your office, may not be a right time. Just saying it out. So think about very clearly where you are, what your baseline is, which is a good option, and then think about how much time am I having available from now till the end of April. And I will be asking you guys to like share tracks with me to show me like whether you're doing some training and things like that. And coming to training part, for people from Seattle folks, we will be doing like weekly hikes over here because we also need to train, right? So we will be doing those hikes, and then the people from other states, we have some folks that can help you guys out. And in the registration form, we'll be asking you guys where you guys are from, and so that we can direct you to those contacts, and you will be doing weekly hikes with them. But I will be guiding you through the off weekly training program because you'll require a little bit more than that, a little bit more than what they are doing. Um, the other thing I want to talk about is the training required for this is a little bit different than the other mountains that we do in Washington states. So for people from Seattle folks, right, who are listening over here and they want to do like 5 volcanoes and also do this, that is pretty optimistic goal, I would say. I'm gonna say that out pretty loudly. It is a pretty optimistic goal. I would think couple of times, couple of days, or even take a week to think about it, if that is the case. Um, but um, if you are so determined and you think like it's possible for you, go for it. It's an achievement to live by. Um, Having said that, I would say if you the reason I say that trainings are different is over here you shoot for long distances along with elevation gain. For general mountaineering, you don't shoot for long distances that much. For this kind of trips, you need to walk for like 25-30 miles before you even go to Grand Canyon, right? And in mountaineering training, you only go to like 10 miles, 14 miles, or maybe 16 miles with the elevation gain. So, and then we will be doing uh, two peaks on a single day kind of a training. So basically, if you went to one trail which has like 3,000 feet of elevation gain, let's say, so you go up that once and come back down and go up that again second time. Uh, and the first baseline is doing that 3,000 feet of gain um, within a particular time, which is about 2.5 hours with 20 pounds. And then next phase will be to shoot that uh, into like a longer distance, right, which I was talking about, to take it to like 25 miles a day trip, right. And then after that, the last 3-4 weeks that will be left out from from first week of April or so, we will be doing these back to back peaks in a single day. Same peak basically, going up and down, and then again going up and down. uh, this is the kind of training that we will be requiring to do this. And this is all achievable given those two things, right. But you guys need like that 1 day a week for the training, for the weekend training, sorry. And then 3 days in your weekdays that you guys need to dedicate for your strength and cardio training. That is the requirement. um, So that's about the fitness level. Let me go and proceed. We also provide, as I was talking about, we will have obviously like every month we will be learning new things and we will having new goals. We will be coaching you guys with what the gear requirements are, how to do your packing, and we will be actually packing your bags on that Friday night, so it won't be that bad. But we will be going through that anyways, and we'll talk about trip briefing before we leave our states or cities over here, and also we'll be talking on the day before the trip, which is on Friday, right. um, Obviously of the trail guidance on how to improve, and everyone is comes from a different place, and not everyone is at the same pace and things like that. So we want you guys to like voice it out like, hey, um, I feel like I'm not getting this kind of training, so and my legs are hurting rather than like sore, so we can give you some kind of a progression path towards it, right. Mm, we already covered this part. And as I talked about pretty earlier, that the volunteers that will be leading on this trip are kind of previously done. Rim to rim to rim, which is me, I have the wilderness first responder. The others are wilderness first aid certified. We pretty much, I and Ashish climb mountains pretty much every year. And then Ashwin has recently started doing things. Like to give you a background of like, we kind of like train ourselves to like climb mountains like every other week over here in the summertime. Um, and this is our bigger training program, training plan to do this to get even get to higher ground. So it will help us go bigger, hopefully. Mm, and regarding fundraising, if you have not done anything with Asha yet, we kind of create like a fundraising profile page on the website, but we leave it up to you guys to like use various platforms available outside. But we want to keep track of like sharing links or whatever so that we can keep like, hey, you are meeting your requirements and things like that. So there's a little bit of back and forth in that environment. And we will be mostly starting that in the month of March or so for this trip. And the deadlines for this fundraising goal will be towards the end of May, basically, or yeah, May, yeah. And we will like basically as we do off the trail guidance, we can actually like see like, hey, if you're like feeling shy about asking your friends, we can say like, hey, these are the things that people have been doing, like, hey, do you want to do this or do you like doing this? We can give you those coachings as well, like as it goes. The dates will be a little bit modified. I think these are not the correct dates. I will say applications will start on Thursday. So today is 7th, right? So 7 is, yeah. So Thursday, which is true actually. The applications are due on January 10th. Yeah. So I want to give you guys to something to think about after this info session. And tomorrow morning, I'll be sharing you guys not only the recording of this presentation and the slides, but also um, a page where I am updating right now with all the details of like timeline basically from Friday evening till like Monday morning, how the timeline looks, so that you guys can decide like which trip is appropriate, right? And how much of the mileage and exactly what it is. I'll post that on the web page and give you guys the link to that so that you can see that tomorrow morning along with this recording. Take your time, think about it, um, and I'll send out a timed email on Thursday morning 7 a.m. And as as soon as I reach the 7 spots, I'll close the link. If you were the eighth person you got through, I will refund you the money, but that will be the process for the registration. And we will walk through the entire stage of training later on as the things progress, right? Um, So, um, for some of you guys, I know you guys have registered through Facebook. Some of you guys have registered on the uh, Google Docs. Some of you guys have received emails directly. So, if you have not shown your interest through Google Docs, I would say keep a note of this website, because this is the only way I can share the information of like whatever I was talking about, sharing the recording, sharing the web page link, right? I can do it only when I have your email addresses. So go to this website. There is a interest form for the Grand Canyon. If you haven't already done that, fill that out so that I have your details. I'll send it out tomorrow morning, and then the next day morning, which is Thursday morning at 7 o'clock sharp, you will receive another email saying that the registrations are open. Here is the link for you guys. And yeah, so that is how we will be doing this registration. The registration will be typically just one link, one page. It will take you to DocuSign. You'll fill out your details, you'll sign the waiver in the same form, and by clicking the submit, there are two authorizations that you will be doing. One thing is paying that $150. The second thing you will be doing is authorizing the future payment in case you're not able to meet your fundraising goal, right? Obviously, as I said, like we'll be working with you throughout the process to give you guys some guidance how to raise some money. In the past, we have extended the deadlines and things like that. We are a little bit flexible, but obviously we don't want people to take advantage of that, but we are a little bit flexible on that ground as well. And obviously, Ashwin talked about his experience. I would say uh, there are lots of feedbacks, but I will leave things on this slide because we talked quite a bit, and I want to entertain some questions right now.
I'm gonna unmute all.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, time for some questions. If you want to go.
So once you receive all the applications, hi, this is Pramoda.
Yep.
Like how long, like are you going to go through an evaluation process for each of the profiles? How are you going to select the 7 or 8 folks that you're taking?
Oh, I think 700 folks, like I will let you guys decide which one is suitable for you. And we will be working to train you. As long as you are committed, we believe that we can reach your potential to whatever you want to do. And
Oh,
I
so
think
the
we have,
selection doesn't happen now. Right now, we are just putting in the application money, and then based on our training, the
so
70.
basically it is basically you filled out the application, you are in. Uh, there is no selection process. You are in for training and you are in for the Grand Canyon trip.
But if let's say like you have 7, how many permits you said you had? About 10
11.
or so, right? 11.
Yeah.
And if 20 people apply?
No, that's where I said like I'll be stopping the application as soon as I reach 7. I
Oh,
might be hitting the time when there are 10 people who applied, and I will stop the link.
okay.
But
So
I'll
it's
be
first come,
refunding
first
the,
register.
yeah, exactly. First come, first
Okay.
served. I'll be refunding the money for the person who is the 8th person, 9th person, and 10th person. And so like
Oh,
if
okay.
I
Okay.
missed
Okay.
out that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't hear that part. Sorry. Got it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm like laying out the rules for training right now for you guys to decide,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe that you guys are the best ones to like see where you stand and what you want to do. And uh, and we believe that with our coaching we can take you to that level, as long as you are committed, and I already shared that commitment needs. So yeah.
Hi, my name is Nirupama, and I have a quick question.
Yep.
So where do we meet? Do we meet in Las Vegas, or do we meet directly at the, I think, South Rim, where we start
So
the
I think,
hike?
yeah, so basically the trip for us, for Asha, the trip will start at the visitor center of Grand Canyon South Rim at 6 p.m. or something like that, right? And then it will end on Monday at 9 a.m. at the same spot, right? So before that, it all depends upon where people want to travel, which are the cheaper flights, and we will coordinate, try to minimize our cost, try to rent cars so that our times are matching and things like that. So we will be, that is a separate logistics, right? And some people might want to like stay longer after the trip to enjoy the sceneries around it, right? So there are lots of variabilities over there. So I don't want to discuss that right now, but definitely we will try to see what people want to do.
Okay,
Does that
one more
make sense?
question. Yeah, it does make sense. One more question. The training. So I'm in Bay Area. So do you in Seattle area train together, or it's up to the folks how they want to train?
So in Seattle, we definitely train together. In Bay Area, there is a climbing program which I initiated last year for climbing Mount Shasta, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like drove the training for that chapter remotely. And we had volunteers. I trained kind of volunteers to like lead the training hikes and things like that. And they do it periodically every week. They go out on a training hike. What will happen though in the first 2 months you will be able to be with them, but the last month training will be a little bit different than what the mountaineering people are required, right? Because they will be training for Mount Shasta and you will be training for Grand Canyon, right? So there is a difference in the last month of training, which you will be doing it on yourself if you are not in Seattle.
I see. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
And one last question, the fundraising limits. Again, I'm on audio only.
Yeah.
If you had that on
So
the slide.
let me go back and refresh that amounts, right? So let's talk about the bigger program or bigger activity is rim to rim to rim. The total goal is $1,000 for each person to raise by the end of May. And if for some reason other than the medical reasons that they are canceling the trip, they will be asked to raise $750, right? If medically they cannot come to the trip or something is wrong, we kind of like give them a benefit saying that it's totally understandable, those things do happen and it's unfortunate, so we want to waive that off for those people. But if you kind of like have any kind of other conflicts and you cannot make it, but you did register, we require you to raise $750, right? At least. And for people who are doing just REM to REM, the total fundraising amount is $600. And in case you cannot make it, that is $500.
Thanks.
Hi, this is Sarabjot. Quick question here. What's the maximum mileage we hit while training?
Maximum mileage, you will go up to 25 miles roughly.
And similar elevation gain?
No, 25 miles with like about like 4,000 feet of gain or something. So you will be pretty much on a mellower route.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to achieve the peak. So we'll be training to achieve the peak for Grand Canyon. We will be cooling down just the weekend before. So yeah.
Hey Katie, sorry I missed out your last point when you showed your backpack. Typically, what's the weight you're planning to carry?
Oh, the leads will be carrying about 35 pounds because they have like two tents with them. But the other folks will be carrying about like 18 pounds. That's what we calculated. Yep.
Okay. Okay. That includes the water, right?
That includes water of 8 pounds, like 3 liters of water. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
If you have to compare the difficulty of this hike, Kilimanjaro, for example, I have done Kilimanjaro. Is it somewhat equivalent, less strenuous? What do you think?
I think for Kilimanjaro folks who want to do this, rim to rim is a better option. Uh, because Kilimanjaro training, if you follow the same philosophy, it's more of like going at a steady pace and maintaining that rhythm, right? Um, it's not a fast pace hike, right? For rim to rim, you have a longer mileage to cover in a single day and you have less time to recover, right? You're like relying on like from midnight to next day morning at 9 p.m. So like you have 9 hours to recover and then you have to do the same thing all over again. But for rim to rim, it's much more easier because you do like only 13 miles on the first day. You take a rest, you camp out, and then you go. And it's basically like your last day of Kilimanjaro or last
Okay,
2 days
the
of
summit day.
Kilimanjaro. Yeah, like basically last 2 days of Kilimanjaro will be similar to rim to rim. Yep. All right, any other questions? I'm gonna wait another minute or so. Ashwin, did we miss anything? Ashish, did we miss anything?
No, I think The details that will come as we get into the training program is
Definitely.
is what we have not covered, obviously, but
Yeah.
otherwise the highlights have been covered. The fundraising goals, the minimum strength requirements, and uh, your commitment, and the fact that the registration will be open and closed rather quickly, and we'll all have some fun when we get there.
Yeah. I mean, I might have scared people off, but like that's the thing. Like if you talk to the rangers, they will talk about the strenuous things that will endure your body will endure throughout this trip, right? Having said that, like with the right training that we will go through, rim to rim should be a breeze to go by. Rim to rim is will be a good task to achieve, I would say, especially the one which we are returning back. But as I said, like there's so many good facilities on the Bright Angel Trail. Like I'm not really worried about that. Like my bigger thing is figure out where you are, whether you have time to train, and once you have time to train, go for it, and we will be there with you throughout the process. And every 2 weeks or so you will be hearing from us about, even if you whether you train with us or not, every 2 weeks or so you will be hearing from me about new things that you need to learn, right? Whether it's gear, whether it's like new trip planning that you have to do, or whether it's like the new goal that you have to achieve, whether you have to do some off the trail strength training, and these are the workouts that you need to work on, or maybe it needs like you need to bump up your cardio. You will be hearing about few things about, yeah, those things every 2 weeks or so. So those 12 to 14 weeks from now, that's a lot of communication, right? You will definitely know more. And of course, we will have such a long conversation again before we go to Grand Canyon.
So
That
someone
will be
had
much
a
more detailed.
hand raised, Akshay Hatwar. Did you have a question?
I had a question. I think KD kind of just answered my question involuntarily, because I had a question like we have some backpacking trips planned towards the end of April. And if I were to sign up for the training program, I can't make it for a few of them. I want to run by some of the plans we have with you so that we can keep up. So I
Yeah, I think there are a few people who kind of like not obviously like make every weekend, but we don't want to talk about it. But typically, I like when you start saying that it's not gonna happen, then it will be like more weekends that will not happen. So if there are only like 1 or 2 weekends, or maybe let's say like in 12 weeks, yeah, if you can do like 9 weeks of 9 weekends or to 10 weekends of training, um, yeah, I can like give you small workouts when you're traveling or doing something else, depending upon what available like the environment is for you to do certain things, right? To keep up with your body's temper and bring up the training. Yeah. Did I answer your question? Sorry.
I think you did. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of difficult, like if I don't see somebody's face to understand whether I did answer or not. Okay.
Doesn't look like there's going to be any more questions. So
Okay, sounds good. So let me go back to the last slide, and we will probably put this slide on for like 1 minute so people can note it down in case they haven't. Um, and people who have no questions, feel free to leave after you have submitted your emails. If you have already done that, um, have a good evening, and hopefully I'll see you guys on the trails.
Katie, you want to connect after this
Yes, we'll do.
separately? Not on this
Yep.
one, right? Okay.
Yeah, I'll call you.
I'm gonna stop the recording.
Okay.
Ooh.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you.